welcome back, guys, to another brand new video. I hope you guys are having an amazing, blessed day. And in today's video, we're going to be predicting the 2026 World Cup. And before we start the video, make sure to subscribe and comment down below who y'all think is gonna win the World Cup. And personally, I think France is gonna win the World Cup, but I'm not going for them. I'm going for the one and the only country, Mexico. Arriba! So let's get into the video. Let's go. Alright, y'all, so we are now going to predict it. So let's go. So in Group A, we have Mexico, South Africa, and South Korea. And I don't know how to say that. But in first seed, I'm gonna go with Mexico. I told y'all in the beginning of the video, I'm going for Mexico in this video. Alright, and then the second seed, I'm gonna have South Korea. They have Sun, and they're gonna be amazing in this group. So in third, I'm gonna have South Africa and in third place, and don't know how to pronounce that, in fourth place. And then in Group B, we got Canada. Don't know how to pronounce that. Qatar and Switzerland. And I'm gonna have Canada being first place, and I'm gonna have Switzerland being second, and I'm gonna have Qatar be in third place. And then I'm gonna have, I don't know how to say that, Bosnia. Let me know if I'm saying it right in the comments. But in Group C, we have Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland. And we're obviously gonna have Brazil in first place. They're an amazing country. The way they play, the way they move. So I'm gonna have Brazil in number 1. Then I'm gonna have Morocco in number 2. And then Haiti, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to be in 4th place, because I have Scotland being 3rd place. So yeah. And then in Group D, we're gonna have USA, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. I'm gonna have USA 1st place, and I'm gonna have Turkey 2nd, and I'm gonna have Paraguay 3rd, and Australia 4th. So let's move down. And then in Group E, we got Germany. Don't know how to pronounce that. And Ecuador. And I'm gonna have Germany 4th place, and I'm gonna have Ecuador in 2nd. And then I'm gonna have Morocco in 3rd, and Cote d'Ivoire. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Let me know in the comments. And then in Group F, we have Japan, Netherlands, Sweden, and Tunisia. And in 1st place in this group, I'm gonna have the Netherlands. And then I'm gonna have, honestly, Japan, and then Tunisia in 3rd, and Sweden in 4th. And then Group G, I'm gonna have Belgium. No, we have Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. And 4th seed in this one, I'm gonna have Belgium, and then New Zealand, and then Egypt in 3rd, and then Iran in 4th. Okay, so then we have Spain, I don't know how to pronounce that, Saudi Arabia, and then Uruguay. And then in 1st place, I'm gonna have Spain. And then in 2nd, I hope y'all not mad at me, but I feel like Saudi Arabia is gonna pull something crazy, so I'm gonna have them 2nd. And then Uruguay is gonna be in 3rd place. And then Cabo Verde is gonna be in 4th place. So now let's move on to Group I, where we have France, Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. And I'm gonna have France be in 1st place. And then we're obviously gonna have to have Norway in 2nd. They have the best striker in the whole World Cup, supposedly they say. I don't know. And then we're gonna have Senegal in 3rd, and then Iraq in 4th. And then in Group J, we're gonna have Argentina, Algeria, and Algeria, I think, and then Jordan. And then in 1st place, I'm gonna have Argentina. You know, Messi's gonna do his thing in the group stage. And then I'm gonna have Algeria. And then I'm gonna have Austria and 3rd, and Jordan in 4th. And then Group K, we got Portugal. I don't know how to say that. And then Colombia. And then 1st place, I'm gonna have Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo, CR7, Sui. And then I'm going to have Colombia in second. And then I'm going to honestly have to have this country. I don't know how to say that. And then in fourth, I'm going to have Congo. And then in Group L, we're going to have England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. And then in first place, we're obviously going to have England. And then second, don't get mad at me, I'm going to have Croatia. And then third, I'm going to have Panama. Alright, so now we're going to have the bracket challenge, and it says pick the best third place teams. Alright, so I'm going to be honest with you, the 8 best third team seeds are going to be Uruguay, South Africa, Tunisia, Panama, Paraguay, and Senegal. Okay, and now we have 2 left. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, all of these teams suck, but I'm gonna have to pick Egypt. Yeah, Egypt. And then I'm gonna have to pick honestly, I think I'm gonna pick Qatar. So yeah. And then now the groups are completed, so let's go to the knockouts. Let's go. Alright, y'all, so now we got the bracket challenge, the knockout stage. So let's go. And then right here in the Boston Stadium, in the round of 32, Germany versus Paraguay. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm gonna have Germany move on to the round of 16. And then France versus Tunisia. Obviously, France and Mbappe and Dembele are going to do their things in the round 32, so I have them moving on. And then South Korea versus Switzerland. I'm going to have South Korea. Son is going to cook. And then the Netherlands versus Morocco in the round of 32. I'm going to have the Netherlands move on to the round of 16. And then we have Colombia versus Croatia. Croatia is going to move on to the round of 16. And then Spain versus Algeria in the Los Angeles Stadium. I'm going to have, honestly, I'm going to have Spain move on to the round of 16. And then in San Francisco Bay Area, we have USA versus Qatar. And USA is playing at home, so I'm going to have USA move on to the round of 16. And yeah. And then we have Belgium versus South Africa. And this is easily an easy choice to make. I have Belgium winning this one. And then we have Brazil versus Japan. And I'm sorry, I don't think Japan's going to be able to play in the hot weather in Houston. And I think Brazil's going to be able to play in that type of condition. So I'm going to have Brazil move on to the round of 16. And then we have Ecuador versus Norway. This is, again, an easy choice to make. Norway has the best striker in the whole entire soccer association. And so I'm going to have Norway move on to the round of 16. And then in Mexico City, we got Mexico versus Uruguay. And it's in Mexico. So I'm going to have Mexico move on to the round of 16. Let's go Mexico. And then England versus Senegal. I'm going to have England easily win this one against Senegal. And then in Miami Stadium, Argentina versus Saudi Arabia. Remember, don't forget, in 2022, Saudi Arabia beat Argentina in the group stage. But times have changed now. Messi plays in Miami, so this should be easy. I'm going to have Argentina beat Saudi Arabia to move on to the round of 16. And then we got Turkey versus New Zealand. I'm going to have New Zealand win this game, and they're going to move on to the round of 16. And then we have Canada versus Egypt. Canada's going to be playing at home because it's in Vancouver. So I'm going to have Canada win this and move on to the round of 16. And then Portugal versus Panama. Easily Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo, CR7, Sui. And yeah. Okay, so now we have the round of 16 games. in the knockout. Okay, so then we have Germany versus France. I'm sorry, Germany, but Mbappe and Dembele are just like that. Sorry, sorry, Germany, but I'm gonna have France win this, and they're gonna move on to the quarterfinals. And then we have South Korea versus Netherlands, and Netherlands, you guys are gonna win this against South Korea, and so I have Netherlands moving on to the quarterfinals. And then we got Croatia versus Spain, and I'm obviously gonna have to take Spain, and they're gonna move on to the quarterfinals. And then in round of 16, USA versus Belgium. I'm gonna have, it's hard choice, but I'm gonna have Belgium, and USA's run will end here. And then Brazil versus Norway. We're gonna have Brazil beat Norway. Their defense is just gonna be able to stop Holland from scoring a lot of goals. And then we have Mexico versus England, and Mexico's gonna again play in Mexico City, so they're at home and they have an advantage. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think England's gonna be able to play in Mexico type of conditions. So I'm gonna have Mexico pull a crazy upset and move on to the quarterfinals to face Brazil, and England will be eliminated. We got Argentina now versus New Zealand, and I'm gonna have Argentina easily beat New Zealand to move on to the quarterfinals. And then now we have Portugal versus Canada. Canada, I'm sorry, you guys are not beating Portugal. CR7, Sui Cristiano Ronaldo is going to give you guys BTA. So now in the quarterfinals, we have France versus the Netherlands. We're going to have France easily beat the Netherlands. Come on now. Mbappe is the GOAT and Dembele is the GOAT. Who's stopping this duo? And they're going to be moving on to the semifinals. And then we got Spain versus Belgium, and this game's gonna be in Los Angeles. I'm gonna have Spain easily beat Belgium to move on to the semifinals. So yeah. And then we have Brazil versus Mexico. I told you on the beginning of the video before we started predicting the games and the knockout challenges, the bracket, you know what it is, whatever it is. And I told you I was going for Mexico. But sadly, I think this is where the run ends, and I think Brazil will beat Mexico, and Brazil will give Mexico BTA. And Brazil will move on to the semifinals. And then we have the rivalry everybody always wants to see in the quarterfinals. Argentina, Messi versus Portugal, Ronaldo. This is probably going to be one of the best games of World Cup history. But I'm sorry, y'all. I don't care if y'all think Messi's the GOAT, because I think Ronaldo is the GOAT. Cristiano Ronaldo, Sui, and Portugal will beat Argentina to move on to the semifinals. And also, Argentina's kind of washed up already. And now in the semifinals matches, here we go. We have France versus Spain. And you guys might be thinking, oh, I'm going to choose Spain because Lamine Yamal. Who cares about that guy? And Lamine Yamal is not that guy. He's too young, no experience. So I have France beating Spain to go on to the final World Cup finals. So I have France defeating Spain in the semifinals. And then we have in the semifinals Brazil versus Portugal. And I'm sorry, Portugal. Ronaldo's going to be too old, and he's going to be washed up, too tired. And Brazil's a very young team, and they have Vini Jr. and great defense. So I'm going to have Brazil beat Portugal in the semifinals to face up against France in the World Cup final. And then now, in the World Cup final, the moment we all been waiting for, France versus Brazil, that I'm predicting. This is going to be the World Cup final. You don't need to tell me twice that I'm wrong, because I know that this is going to be the World Cup final. And France versus Brazil, I'm going to go with France to win the World Cup this year. And Mbappe is going to get his revenge and Dembele is gonna show that he's the best Ballon d'Or winner of all time, and he's gonna prove to everybody that he's the GOAT. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think Dembele is better than Messi and Ronaldo. Don't call me crazy if you want to call me crazy, but I don't know. Alright, y'all, so this is gonna be the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what y'all think about my predictions. And if you're a soccer fan, don't worry, because I'll be posting more content like this during the summer about the FIFA World Cup 2026. See you on the next video. Subscribe. Peace.